Here are your General Hospital spoilers for Thursday, October 16th, 2025. When Jack returns from Steinmauer, he is going to be in for quite a surprise because Jason Morgan doesn't take orders from anyone. Jack warned Jason that he had better not tell Carly that Josslyn was a WSB agent. However, Jason just ignores Jack and does what he wants. During a confrontation with Carly in her kitchen, Jason spills the beans and tells Carly that Jack has been lying to her about everything, including his association with Carly's daughter. Josslyn had better run for the hills when Hurricane Carly comes blasting through after learning of Josslyn's super spy status. While Felicia worries that Nathan might want custody of James while Maxie is in a coma, Anna begins to wonder what is really going on. Something wasn't quite right about her encounter with Nathan the other day, especially after they hugged. Anna shares her concerns with Dante, telling him that she has a sinking feeling about this apparent resurrection. It is just too coincidental that Nathan and Britt both returned from the dead at almost the same time. Meanwhile, Jack orders Valentine to tell him everything he knows about Cesar Faison's final experiments. Lulu already knows there is danger coming from Jack and Valentine and warns Charlotte to be on high alert. Jack might also want to be on high alert the next time he visits Carly. Molly is shocked when she walks into her mother's living room and finds her father all disheveled, looking as if he hasn't showered in a month. Will Rick tell the truth about where he has been, hence throwing Alexis, Ava, and Christina under the bus? Cody knows all and will tell Molly if her parents don't spill the beans. Cody is also said to get a pleasant surprise on Thursday. Will Molly reward him for saving her father from a crazy coven of women who kept him locked in the basement for a month? Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Here is your General Hospital recap for Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. Molly found Dante at his desk at the PCPD and told him she was worried that something had happened to her dad. Molly explained the digital detox excuse to Dante because she no longer believed that's what Rick was doing. Molly asked Dante if he could ping Rick's phone to find out where he was. Having him around this past year has really made me realize how much I need him in my life. I can't lose him, Dante, Molly said. When Dante returned with phone records, Molly realized that her dad was at her mom's house. In Alexis's living room, Alexis and Ava couldn't figure out why the money transfer had not gone through yet. While they waited, the two women spent some more bonding time together. If there's one thing that I did learn throughout all of this, it's that you're a good mother, Ava said. I think we have that in common, Alexis agreed. When Christina walked in, she asked if Cody was there because she saw his truck parked outside. Ava and Alexis shrugged it off and figured he must be with Molly somewhere. Ava then went downstairs to check on Rick. In Alexis's basement, Rick heard Outback barking outside and called for help the best he could, considering he still had a ball gag in his mouth. Cody came barreling down the steps, much to Rick's relief. "What the hell?" was all Cody could manage after taking one look at Rick. Cody removed the ball gag from Rick's mouth and wondered if he was up to something kinky with Ava and forgot the safe word. Rick shouted that he was being held captive and begged Cody to free him. Rick unlocked the handcuffs and told Cody there was something he had to do before going to the hospital. While Alexis was leaving a voicemail for Molly, Cody and Rick walked in the front door. Christina and Ava soon appeared and tried to convince Cody that things were not as they appeared, but Rick wasn't having it. "These harpies! They held me hostage in the basement for I don't know how long, a week? Weeks, plural," he accused. Cody watched in amazement as the ladies tried to explain that Rick was blackmailing Alexis and extorting funds. Rick argued that Alexis stole from a child, which disgusted Cody. The women and Rick argued back and forth until Rick announced that Christina cut his brakes in an effort to kill Ava. "That's ancient history," Ava said, defending Christina. The women tried to offer Cody money to stay quiet, but Cody was still bewildered. "You're all nuts. All of you. I have no idea how any of you are related to Molly." When Cody opened the door to leave, Molly was right there. Valentine wasn't pleased to see Lulu in the Steinmauer visiting area when he was expecting Charlotte. Lulu told him if he wanted to see Charlotte, he'd have to deal with her first. Lulu informed Valentine that Charlotte had a great life now as a normal teenager. She has a great life in Port Charles with friends, her brother. She has stability and finally a life free of fear, Lulu said. She doesn't have her father, Valentine countered. Lulu wanted to make sure that Valentine didn't make Charlotte feel guilty for starting a new life in Port Charles. Valentine swore he wouldn't. I will always put her first. That's why I let myself be caught. That's why I let her go, Valentine admitted. Lulu was surprised to hear Valentine had allowed himself to be caught. Lulu, you don't think that Charlotte would be with you today if I didn't want her to be, Valentine told a perplexed Lulu. Finally, Charlotte was allowed in and flew into her father's arms. I missed you so much, Dad, Charlotte said. Valentine was a little taken aback. I knew the day would come when you'd be too grown up to call me Papa, he said. When Valentine mentioned that Charlotte was thriving, she said she wasn't. Valentine promised Charlotte he would be free one day and they could be together again. Valentine then got serious and told Charlotte that she needed to be informed. I know that Britt Westbourne has come to town. You cannot trust her. Make sure that Rocco knows he can't trust her either, Valentine warned. Outside the visiting area, Jack warned Lulu that Charlotte was the daughter of a brilliant and dangerous man, but he had WSB agents watching her from the shadows at all times. When Valentine's time with Charlotte was up, Jack questioned his ex-friend alone. You are going to tell me everything you know about the final project of Cesar Faison, Jack demanded. At the Metro Court bar, Vaughn ordered Britt a drink. He was dressed in a suit, ready for his new job as deputy station chief, but also had some questions for Britt. When Britt turned to leave, Lucas was right in front of her. Oh, so can we stop pretending I don't exist and you can talk to me now? She asked. Lucas claimed he hadn't been ignoring Britt, but she didn't buy it. She also wanted to know what Lucas did to run Brad out of town. Lucas told Britt that Brad admitted he had been dishonest, which Britt was impressed with. At least he admitted the truth. She didn't think Lucas should have been so hard on him. Lucas told Britt he didn't even want to talk to her before returning to his table. Britt approached and warned Marco he'd never live up to Lucas's high standards. Lucas told Marco he'd never lie to him the way Brad did. As soon as Lucas and Marco sat down at a table for lunch, Tracy interrupted them and told Marco that she needed a lawyer. Lucas left the table so Tracy could sit down and tell Marco all about her last will and testament problems. There's a squatter in my house, and you and I are going to throw her out on her down-home rear, Tracy declared. Tracy was stunned to hear it could take years to fully contest Monica's will and throw Ronnie out of the house. Marco warned her that fighting the will would be costly, but Tracy didn't care. This isn't about money. This is about exposing Ronnie Bard for the con artist she is, Tracy said. Ronnie sat down at Bobby's counter and ordered a BLT from Gio. When he asked Ronnie what brought her to Port Charles, Ronnie said, I came for a funeral and ended up with a mansion. Gio immediately knew this was Ronnie Bard. Ronnie was surprised that he knew who she was, so Gio introduced himself and said he once lived at the Q house. Ronnie asked why he had left. Gio told her it was a long story, but he was also new to the family, just like Ronnie. Gio brought up Tracy's name, and Ronnie showed her disdain for the woman. Gio told Ronnie that Brooklyn and Dante were his parents, but he only learned that recently. Ronnie understood why Gio moved out of the Q house. But it's now my house, and you, sir, are welcome anytime. Gio was surprised when Ronnie left him a $50 tip. She made him keep it before giving him a piece of advice. Don't take family for granted while they are still here. When Dante stopped into Bobby's, Gio poured him a cup of coffee and told Dante it was on the house before smiling and walking away. In the Q kitchen, Chase asked Brooklyn why she was unpacking the tea set she had just packed away. Brooklyn claimed she had a plan to make Ronnie and Tracy get along. The way I see it, if we want to keep this house in the family, we gotta make her a part of the family, Brooklyn declared. Chase finally figured out that Brooklyn planned to throw a tea party to introduce Ronnie to the community. Brooklyn would make sure that Tracy wasn't there. However, when Brooklyn later told Ronnie about the party, Ronnie nixed the idea. Brooklyn sweet-talked Ronnie until she accepted the invitation. Just then, Tracy appeared. "What are you taking from my family now?" she asked. Brooklyn told Tracy about the tea party, so Tracy canceled her plans for that day so she could attend. General Hospital spoilers reveal that fans are asking what's really going on with Nathan West. The show still needs to reveal the truth behind Nathan's mysterious return, so this has certainly become a hot topic among GH viewers. We know that when Nathan was brought to the hospital as a John Doe, his DNA and fingerprints turned out to be a match for the real Nathan. However, Nathan claims getting shot by Cesar Faison is the last thing he remembers. Of course, this is quite the puzzler since Nathan was found following a truck crash, and as Anna Devane pointed out, he doesn't look like a man who's been asleep for 7 years. Nathan was obviously doing something shady during that time frame based on how on edge Britt Westbourne has been. There must be a good reason why Britt tried to keep Nathan away from James West. All signs point to Nathan being the mystery boss on the project Britt got roped into. There's been speculation that Faison might have taken over Nathan's body somehow, but Britt didn't speak to him that way when the fake talked privately in the October 9th episode. That said, there were some intriguing comments, like when Nathan talked about his new reality. Britt also mentioned him going out into the world and discovering what it was like to be Nathan West before pausing to add in 2005. In other words, there are still clues that this isn't exactly Nathan somehow. We also can't forget that Britt got her medication doses delivered, along with a note that was signed C just before Nathan crashed his truck. It's possible that Cesar Faison really did take over Nathan's body during those 7 years, but Nathan may not be aware of it following the crash. Nathan may have gotten a bit of a reset. There's also a chance that Nathan is playing even Britt at this point, since he still sports rather sinister expressions from time to time. What if Faison is still in charge, and he's just pretending he's Nathan, with all that time missing? Bottom line, things aren't as they seem when it comes to Nathan, but fans will eventually get some shocking updates. General Hospital spoilers say some huge Nathan news is on the way, so stay tuned. On the Thursday, October 16th episode of General Hospital, spoilers tease that Britt is taken by surprise while at GH. "What are you doing here?" she asks someone unseen. Considering she's smiling, that probably leaves out her mother Liesl and her brother Nathan, since both tend to put Britt on edge. Rick and Molly are reunited, and she's obviously surprised to find her long-missing father at her mother Alexis's home. "What happened to you?" she asks. How much will Rick tell her? Spoilers also teased that Cody gets a pleasant surprise. Will it be in the form of a special thank you from Molly for finding her father? At GH, a worried Felicia confides in Elizabeth about her concerns for James, now that her grandson's father, Nathan, has returned from the dead. If Nathan wants to take James, he has every right to, Felicia laments to Elizabeth. Will the head nurse have any words of wisdom for Felicia? Anna comes to a startling realization while discussing the suspects in Drew's shooting with Dante. I don't like the timing of any of this, Anna tells him. Is the case against Willow already starting to come apart? On the plane ride back to Port Charles, Charlotte receives a warning. Is it from her mother, Lulu? Seeing your father comes with a certain level of risk, Lulu tells her. How will Charlotte react to what her mother has to say about Valentine? Brennan stays behind at Steinmauer prison as he tries to get the information he needs from Valentine, who keeps finding new ways to stall. I have another condition, Valentine tells his old friend. Jason makes a confession as he visits a visit at her home. He's lied to you about everything, he tells Carly. Is he about to confess everything to her, and what will happen to Jason, courtesy of her boyfriend Brennan, if he does? Check out the full teaser below, share your GH predictions in the comments below, and if you haven't already, get a sneak peek at the full week of drama coming up with the weekly promo. General Hospital spoilers update for Thursday, October 16th, reveals that Britt Westbourne will get a surprise, while Nathan West's right to take James West is discussed. Charlotte Cassadine will also face a risky situation, so let's discuss all the drama that's looming. At Steinmauer, Jack Brennan expects Valentine Cassadine to divulge some major revelations about Cesar Faison's final project. but Valentine will go back on his word by making another demand. Meanwhile, Charlotte will be on the plane back to Port Charles with Lulu Spencer when her mom sounds the danger alarm. Valentine's foes already know Charlotte is his weak spot, but she may have put herself on their radar even more with that visit. That's why Lulu will want Charlotte to stay on guard and keep herself out of harm's way. Next, Britt will grin over a visitor she wasn't expecting, so it might be Rocco Falconeri if he's ready to ask some questions. Valentine told Charlotte not to trust Britt and urged her to convince Rocco of the same thing, so the siblings may have a tense conversation coming up before long. In Anna Devane's office, she'll speak with Dante Falconeri about Nathan's return happening so soon after Britt's. Anna will be weirded out over the timing and will struggle to make sense of Nathan's missing years too. We know Anna will have a stunning epiphany on Thursday's GH episode, which will likely involve a Faison-related realization. Anna will investigate a new Faison angle eventually, and could put her own life in jeopardy as a result. Over with Elizabeth Baldwin, she'll lend an ear as Felicia Scorpio frets over James. Felicia will acknowledge that Nathan has every right to take James and raise him, but she'll hold out hope that Nathan will leave James with his siblings and Damian Spinelli for a while. As for Jason Morgan, he'll confess Josslyn Jack's WSB status to Carly Spencer and offer updates on all the dirty deception Brennan has brought to their romance. At Alexis Davis' house, Molly Lansing Davis will push Rick Lansing to tell her what went down since he's looking all weak and disheveled at her mom's place. Will Rick go through with telling Molly the whole ugly story? From the car sabotage and blackmail to his drugging and recent hostage stint? If so, Molly will inevitably lash out at Alexis, Ava Jerome, and Christina Corinthos Davis for going to such extremes. Regardless, Cody Bell will get some praise for finding Rick in the cellar. A positive curveball is ahead for Cody, so Molly may lock lips with him to say thank you. General Hospital spoilers hint that Molly will have some messy news to wrap her head around in Thursday's show. General Hospital spoilers hint that a Jens Sidwell takedown alliance could be looming. Will this ultimately become Drew Kane, Jason Morgan, and Sonny Corinthos' path to peace? GH writers turned a once kind-hearted character into a monster with Drew's latest character transformation. However, Drew can perhaps be redeemed if he finally heads down a different road. Of course, things may get worse before they get better. Drew isn't going to change overnight, especially when he's spinning out over Willow Tate's arrest and determined to send Michael Corinthos to prison instead. That said, even the fiercest enemies can eventually become allies on soaps. There's room for Drew to grow, especially now that Sidwell is exerting so much control over him. Ava Jerome and Christina Corinthos Davis stopped short of hugging it out, but they came further than anyone ever thought possible when they apologized for their vendettas and shook hands in the October 14th episode. Christina, Ava, and Alexis Davis came together through their plot against Rick Lansing, so maybe Drew could find himself in a similar situation with Jason and Sonny somewhere down the line. Sidwell is a true villain who's only going to get more powerful and bolder in his strategies. At some point, Sidwell's foes may decide he simply must be stopped, and that could set the stage for Drew to potentially team up with Sonny and Jason. If the writers want to bring the three of them together in a shocking alliance, having Jason, Sonny, and Drew join forces against Sidwell would be the way to go. Sidwell is capable of horrible things and has vowed to totally derail Drew's life if he doesn't follow orders. Drew might get desperate enough to make Sonny and Jason his allies if Sidwell pushes him too far. That could be an interesting storyline to keep the drama going after Drew's whodunit is solved. So stick with us for updates on any stunning Sidwell news that might be brewing. General Hospital spoilers say Sidwell's takedown should be coming up sooner or later, which could bring some vengeful moves and surprising tactics. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Brooke Lynn Quartermain's Tea Party disaster seems to be on the way. Tracy Quartermain will likely ruin Veronica Ronnie Bard's special day. So let's discuss all the drama ahead. In GH's October 15th episode, Brooke Lynn shared a plan to make Ronnie feel like part of the family and hopefully keep the Quartermain house in the family in the process. The goal is to give Ronnie a warm welcome to Port Charles and introduce her to the key players in town. That's why Brooke Lynn pitched the idea of throwing a tea party with Ronnie. as the guest of honor. Ronnie was hesitant to get on board at first, but Brooklyn finally talked her into it with Harrison Chase's help. Unfortunately, Brooklyn's plan quickly hit a snag. Although Brooklyn was hoping to have this party while Tracy was busy with another charity event, Tracy got updates and decided she'd just send a check to the fundraiser with her regrets. That means Tracy will be at this tea party as well, and we have no doubt she's going to make it interesting. This could be a good opportunity for Tracy to take Marco Rios' legal advice. It could take years for Tracy to contest Monica Quartermain's will and try to throw Ronnie out of the Quartermain house. Marco suggested Tracy might be able to move things along if she got other people to view Ronnie as a problem too. Tracy may set some sort of trap and hope to make Ronnie look bad in front of all the party guests. Ronnie could be walking into Tracy's setup, though Ronnie is pretty crafty herself and might find a way to turn the tables. Regardless, there's a good chance this tea party will turn into a total catastrophe. Tracy and Ronnie's feud may take center stage, so Brooklyn may regret even having this celebration once it becomes a nightmare. General Hospital spoilers say Ronnie and Tracy's conflict will get worse in the coming episodes, so don't miss any disastrous party news. General Hospital spoilers hint that Josslyn Jax may seek S. Vaughn's bedroom comfort after Carly Spencer's wrath is unleashed. Following Jason Morgan's decision to reveal Josslyn's job in the WSB, Carly's outrage will be hard to contain. Jack Brennan will obviously take the brunt of Carly's anger, but Josslyn will face her mom's fury over all the risks she's taking too. This is a big mess that'll take a toll on Josslyn, so she'll find herself looking for solace. After Carly explodes, Josslyn will be emotional and will need someone to talk to. Vaughn is the only person Josslyn will truly be able to confide in once everything blows up. Fall preview spoilers already hinted about Josslyn and Vaughn sneaking around behind Brennan's back, so they seem poised to become rule breakers. Brennan has forbidden Vaughn and Josslyn's romantic involvement, but they may land back in bed together anyway. This feels like the perfect time for it to happen, so Josslyn may lean on Vaughn for comfort and ultimately surrender to temptation with him. Once Vaughn and Josslyn take that step, they may not be able to control their desires anymore. It could lead to other secret encounters and set the stage for Brennan to bust them sooner or later. Whatever the case, Josslyn and Vaughn's feelings for each other haven't gone away. All that drama at the Five Poppies Resort gave Vaughn and Josslyn an intense bond that they haven't been able to shake, so they may not be able to avoid more passion. Once Josslyn opens up to Vaughn and offers updates on all the latest Carly news, they may hit the sheets and develop an even stronger connection. Josslyn will definitely need some support, so Vaughn may provide it in more ways than one. Vaughn and Josslyn may get on Brennan's bad side all over again with their sizzling moves, so don't miss what's ahead for the sneaky duo. General Hospital spoilers say Brennan will have plenty of disasters to contend with in the coming episodes. Here is your General Hospital spoilers sneak peek video for Thursday, October 16th, 2025. When Cody opens Alexis's front door, Molly is happy to see him at first, until she looks further and notices her dad standing in the living room looking like he needs a shower ASAP. Molly runs to her father's side and begs him to tell her where he has been. Does Rick gesture to the 3 harpies standing there so that they can explain? Who wants to go first? When Molly hears the whole truth, will she pack up her things and move out of her mother's house for good? If she does, who can blame her? At least she has Cody to thank for rescuing her father, but how will she feel about Rick's blackmail scheme? Carly is angry enough that Jack allowed her daughter to date a WSB agent, but things are about to get so much worse for the station chief and for Josslyn. Jason pretty much ignores Jack's warning not to breathe a word of Josslyn's super spy status to Carly, and tells her that Jack has been lying to her about everything, including her daughter. Everyone needs to just get out of the way and let Hurricane Carly do her thing when Jason blurts out that Josslyn is now in the WSB. After her meeting with Nathan earlier this week, Anna feels more uneasy than ever about the resurrection of Liesl Obrecht's children. How convenient that they both reappear at about the same time. Anna tells Dante that there's something about the timing of this that doesn't sit right with her. Poor Felicia fears what will happen if Nathan wants custody of James. Will it confuse the boy? Felicia opens up to Elizabeth about her fears. In Steinmauer, Jack demands that Valentine tell him everything he knows about Faison's final project. But Valentine has another request before he gives Jack the answers that he's looking for. Welcome to the General Hospital Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. We're a little confused about the timing of the events at Alexis's house. While we enjoyed that laugh riot that was Alexis, Ava, and Christina trying to explain why they did what they did to Rick, we were quite perplexed when Alexis begged Cody to give them one more hour until the funds transfer would go through. When the episode began, Ava and Alexis deduced they needed to wait until midnight to ensure all the money was where it belonged. That would have made it 11 p.m., which it clearly was not. First, everyone else in Port Charles was having lunch, both at the Metro Court and at Bobby's. Second, it was light outside. So what the heck, Alexis? Why 1 hour? We know Rick doesn't know what day or even month it is, but Alexis hasn't been locked in her basement, cuffed to a gurney with a ball gag in her mouth for the last 30 days. She could and should keep track of the time better. Except for this weird little time mishap, the rest of the action at Alexis's house was fantastic. Watching this coven of women try to reason with Cody was everything we could have wanted or asked for. We're just sorry that Rick's time in his very own panic room is coming to a close. But the day is young, and the aftermath of this mess is going to be epic. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full GH recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not, forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. General Hospital recap for Wednesday, October 15th, reveals that Cesar Faison's final project info was the focus as Jack Brennan demanded Valentine Cassadine's secret. At Steinmoyer, Lulu Spencer made it clear to Valentine that if he wanted to see Charlotte Cassadine, he needed to let her know it was okay to keep thriving in Port Charles without him. Valentine pointed out that he let himself get taken into custody so Charlotte could live in PC with Lulu, so he wanted what was best for their daughter too. Meanwhile, Charlotte waited in another area with Brennan and gave him an attitude. Valentine had never pretended to be innocent like Brennan, so Charlotte threw that in Jack's face. Once Lulu let Charlotte enter, she gave Brennan a warning. Lulu insisted she wasn't putting Charlotte through this again, so she hoped Brennan got whatever he was after out of this deal with Valentine. During their sweet visit, Charlotte called Valentine Dad, so he assured her that it was fine, and that he knew she'd outgrow using Papa eventually. Valentine was thrilled as he got updates on Charlotte's life and suggested that they'd be together again one day. Since Valentine knew about Britt Westbourne coming back to Port Charles, he warned Charlotte that Britt couldn't be trusted and wanted her to tell Rocco Falconeri that, too. Once time was up, Charlotte hugged Valentine goodbye before leaving with Lulu. Since Brennan kept his end of the bargain, he approached Valentine alone and pushed him to reveal everything he knew about Faison's final project. At the Metro Court, Tracy Quartermain interrupted Lucas Jones' lunch date with Marco Rios to seek help driving Veronica Ronnie Bard out of the Quartermain mansion. Lucas stepped away while Marco gave Tracy some legal advice about contesting Monica Quartermain's will. Marco warned that pursuing this case would be costly and could take years, but getting other people to view Ronnie as a problem could perhaps speed things along. At the bar nearby, Vaughn tossed threats and questions at Britt, but she wasn't intimidated. Lucas eventually popped up, so Britt grilled him about what he did to drive Brad Cooper away from Port Charles. Lucas hinted that he thought a reunion might be possible, but then Brad admitted to more lying and scheming. Britt thought it sounded like Brad was vulnerable and honest before getting rejected over it. Lucas eventually turned his attention to Vaughn since he'd heard about Josslyn Jax's heartbreak. Vaughn would have to answer to Lucas if there was any more trouble. Once Lucas sauntered off, Britt pointed out that she could have exposed Josslyn as part of the WSB and wanted an incentive to keep quiet. Vaughn shut down Britt's attempts to negotiate before exiting. Britt stopped by Lucas' table with Marco and introduced herself to his new boyfriend. After making it known that she was Brad's bestie, Britt suggested Marco could never live up to Lucas's high standards. However, Lucas reassured Marco once they were alone, since he assumed Lucas wasn't a liar like Brad. At Bobby's, Ronnie ordered a BLT from Giovanni Gio Palmieri, who admitted it was his first shift. As Ronnie talked about getting the Quartermain mansion, she learned Gio was new to the family as well and insisted he was welcome at the house anytime. Gio opened up about his recent struggles, but Ronnie gave him some words of wisdom about embracing family while he had the chance. Later, Dante Falconeri stopped by for coffee and hoped that was okay with Gio. After Gio poured Dante a cup, he smiled and said it was on the house. In the Quartermain kitchen, Brooke Lynn Quartermain spoke to Harrison Chase about throwing a tea party and introducing Ronnie to some key players in Port Charles. To make sure Ronnie wouldn't sell the house to an outsider, Brooke Lynn suggested they had to make her feel like part of the family. Brooke Lynn also had a plan to avoid Tracy causing drama since she was holding this event on a day when Tracy had another commitment. Once Ronnie appeared, Brooke Lynn made her big pitch, but Ronnie passed since tea parties weren't really her thing. Nevertheless, Brooke Lynn kept at it with Chase's help, so Ronnie eventually caved in and accepted the invitation. Later, Tracy came home and found out this tea party was happening, so she insisted on bailing on her other commitment to be there. At the PCPD, Molly Lansing Davis explained her concerns regarding missing Rick Lansing and had Dante try to nail down his phone's location. Once Dante scored that info for Molly, she was perplexed over where Rick seemed to be. In Alexis Davis' cellar, Cody Bell found Rick and was floored. After Cody took the gag out of Rick's mouth, Rick insisted he was being held captive and pushed Cody to free him. Christina Corinthos Davis noticed Cody's vehicle was outside when she arrived, so she told Alexis and Ava Jerome about that as she walked through the front door. Alexis suggested maybe Cody went for a walk with Molly, but Christina assumed her sister was at work. Christina ultimately went down to the cellar with Ava, so they freaked when they realized Rick was gone. Once Alexis left a voicemail for Molly, she was stunned as Cody walked in a newly freed Rick. Christina and Ava joined the chaotic confrontation as well, so Cody was shocked over all the kidnapping, drugging, blackmail, and car sabotage accusations. Alexis, Ava, and Christina begged Cody to sit tight for another hour, since they were still waiting on money to be transferred back into Ace Cassidy's account. Cody was overwhelmed in the midst of Rick, Christina, Ava, and Alexis's argument, so he started to run out the door. When Cody opened it, Molly was standing there, smiling at him. General Hospital spoilers say Molly has some shocking news ahead of her, so stay tuned. General Hospital spoilers for Thursday, October 16th, reveal that Jason Morgan will expose Jack Brennan's lies to Carly Spencer while Molly Lansing Davis reels over Rick Lansing's wild story. At Alexis Davis' place, Molly just showed up and will have plenty of questions in Thursday's GH episode. Rick will share a heartfelt reunion with Molly, who'll ask what he's doing there. Of course, Molly will wonder why Alexis, Ava Jerome, and Christina Corinthos Davis are standing around looking guilty. Cody Bell's presence will also leave Molly confused, but Rick will have a wild story to tell his daughter. Rick is hopping mad over his time in captivity and seems poised to spill the truth to Molly, even if it means admitting his own blackmail. Cody also knows everything that went down and can fill Molly in on his stunning basement discovery. Since Cody will get a nice surprise in Thursday's show, Molly might plant a kiss of gratitude since he freed Rick from his restraints. As for Alexis, Ava, and Christina, they may face Molly's fury soon enough. Over with Felicia Scorpio, she'll tell Elizabeth Baldwin that Nathan West wants to take James West and acknowledge that Nathan has every right to. Even so, Felicia will fret over James potentially being yanked out of his current home when he needs stability. As for Anna Devane, she won't like the timing of Nathan coming back immediately after Britt Westbourne's return. Whether he's deceased or alive somehow, Anna will be convinced that all roads lead to Cesar Faison. While Anna has an epiphany about the whole situation, Jason will open Carly's eyes to the truth about Brennan. After Jason declares that Brennan has been lying about everything, he'll reveal that Brennan recruited Josslyn Jax to join the WSB. Jason will spill Brennan's dirty secrets while Valentine Cassadine plays hardball at Steinmoyer. Brennan came through by granting Valentine's demand to see Charlotte Cassadine, so now he wants to know all about Faison's final project. However, Valentine will insist he's got another condition and will expect Brennan to do him one last favor before he comes clean. On the jet back to Port Charles, Lulu Spencer will warn Charlotte that seeing Valentine comes with a certain level of risk. The visit Charlotte just wrapped up could serve as a reminder to Valentine's enemies of what truly matters to him, and that could put Charlotte in danger. Britt will also receive a special visitor on Thursday's episode, so she'll smile and ask what this person is doing there. It could be Rocco Falconeri, who seeks Britt out, but Charlotte will no doubt insist Britt is bad news once she gets back home. Valentine wanted Charlotte to pass that message along to Rocco, so that's presumably what she'll do following her return to PC. General Hospital spoilers say Britt may bond with Rocco in the meantime, so stay tuned for updates on their strange relationship. Carly Corinthos has enough on her plate these days on General Hospital. Not only is she trying to stay a step ahead of potential prosecution for Drew's shooting, but she's also completely in the dark about the fact that her daughter, Josslyn, has stepped into spy territory. Off-screen, Laura Wright is focusing on something a lot more personal and inspiring. She took to social media to talk about her new interactive project, and fans quickly responded with open hearts. On Instagram, General Hospital star Laura Wright shared, "We start our 4 Agreements course this Saturday, October 18th, and one of the things we're doing right away is meeting our inner child. I know that might sound a little deep, but it's actually really beautiful. That's usually where our first agreements were formed, when we were little. So we get to go back, meet that version of ourselves, and decide what we want to keep, and what we're ready to change. We're even asking everyone to bring a picture of themselves as a child, because that's who we'll be reconnecting with this week." She then told fans how to participate in the journey. In the video, Wright and Elizabeth Winkler shared how meaningful this work is to them. They explained that the child inside each of us holds innocence, creativity, joy, desires, and dreams. Tapping into that is where real abundance lives. The General Hospital star said she's excited to do this work alongside everyone joining the course and reminded fans to bring your child with you for what promises to be an uplifting and emotional journey together. The comments poured in fast. At Freikerter wrote, "Oh, so excited to connect with our inner child. Aye?" Several fans simply replied with 4 agreements so they could get more info on it. "I have the book and wish I could do the course," shared at GalwayGirl4829. Meanwhile, at JoyStumpa0604 asked, "How does one join in on this?" And at CrazyChristy37 added, "4 agreements. I love this book." But the most emotional comment came from GH fan at Frederick Teester, who wrote a heartfelt message about how reconnecting with their inner child through tactile exercises and therapy saved me and helped cultivate my inner awareness of self. They added that the concept has a lot of validity, especially for those who experienced childhood trauma. Also coming up on GH, Carly does some digging. Britt asks for a favor. And Brooke Lynn is uneasy. General Hospital spoilers for Friday, October 17th, 2025, reveal Nathan questioning Dante while Anna seeks out Brennan. This version of Nathan is trying to get his life back. He has a son he wants to support, not just with love, but with money. Maxie is in a coma, so he feels the desperate need to step up. He has already attempted to get his job back at the PCPD. Anna didn't want to give him false hope. She told him it might be a long shot, but she would give it a try. While Nathan had a brief reunion with his partner in Anna's office, look for Nathan and Dante to further reconnect. In fact, Nathan questions Dante. About what? The years that he missed? Meanwhile, Anna seeks out Brennan, who was recently visiting Valentine at the Steinmauer prison in Switzerland. She might want to proceed cautiously because the man has a lot on his plate. He just pumped Valentine for information on Cesar Faison's final project. Plus, the WSB station chief for Port Charles is currently keeping an eye on Britt, and probably Nathan now too. And that's in addition to Charlotte and Sidwell, among others. And, of course, He will have to contend with Carly now that Jason has told her about Joss's extracurricular activities. So what does Anna want with Brennan this time? Speaking of Carly, she's about to do some digging. This could be related to securing information about one of her children. There's Michael, who's acting pretty cagey about the night of Drew's shooting. That is when he isn't providing a flimsy alibi. Or she could be doing whatever she can to find out about her daughter's new gig as a WSB agent. Perhaps Carly digs into Joss's true whereabouts when she claimed to be in Australia, or when Joss claimed to have been on that trip to Easter Island. Carly may start to realize all the lies her daughter has been telling her. While teasers suggest Brooklyn is uneasy, Britt is potentially looking for a helping hand or a handout. Who knows with her? Since Britt's return to Port Charles, she has relied on favors, blackmail, and heated confrontations to try to get her life back to normal. But she is about to ask for another favor. Their fights are legendary, but it may be time to change it up. General Hospital's Nina and Carly seem to like the same men, but they don't like each other at all. They have been constantly fighting for years, but do they even know what they are still arguing about? Every soap needs a great rivalry, and Carly and Nina fit the bill on GH. The two women were never fond of each other, but they became bitter enemies when Nina kept Sonny away from his family and let them believe he was dead, while she fell in love with him in Nixon Falls. To make matters worse, the mob boss left his wife for the Crimson editor. Carly retaliated by keeping the identity of Nina's daughter a secret, and the anger between them continues to grow. Their arguments are legendary, and the fights have gotten physical on more than one occasion. Many fans love this utter dislike between them and would be happy to see it continue forever. It's even more fun to know that the actresses truly love each other off-screen. What's a soap without an epic rivalry? Some are done with Carly and Nina. It was great while it lasted, but sometimes it seems like they are fighting just to fight. Recent confrontations have them just rehashing their same old grievances. Nina defends Willow, while Carly defends Michael. There is nothing new to fight about. There was a point where the two women teamed up to get Willow away from Drew. They were actually on the same side, but that didn't last long because their plan failed. They went right back to bickering, but some fans would have liked to see them become friends. Sidwell is the one who is finally knocking Drew off his pedestal. General Hospital fans rejoiced this week. Someone has finally turned the tables on Drew, and it's about time. Drew has been so uber-focused on taking Sonny down that he trusted the wrong person. There was never any love lost between the congressman and the mob boss, but once Drew became evil, there was no stopping him. It isn't just Sonny. Drew has been out to get as many people in Port Charles as he can. The Corinthos family may be top of his list, but he has no qualms about taking down others as long as it gets him what he wants. He even got Sweet Stella arrested. Drew thought he was being smart by teaming up with Sidwell, but it was actually a very dumb move. Sidwell only cares about himself, and he has now made that perfectly clear. It is about time that Drew is finally the one being threatened, and Sidwell is the perfect person for the job. Drew quickly called Sidwell after Willow was arrested for his shooting. He wanted Jens to make it look like Michael was the one who paid off the judge. The congressman was shocked when told that the police already believed Drew had bribed the judge after finding the paperwork in his safe. He finally put the pieces together and realized that Sonny had framed him, and Sidwell killed the judge. The best part was when Jens told him to watch his step because he had evidence against him. "From now on, you work for me," he informed the congressman. "Step out of line and watch as your life goes to hell." Anna shares her unease with Dante, while Lulu cautions Charlotte about the risks of seeing Valentine, and Valentine makes demands of Jack. The next General Hospital spoilers video for Thursday, October 16th, 2025, shows Felicia updating Elizabeth about Nathan's plans, while Anna voices her concerns to Dante, and Valentine lays out new conditions for Jack. A smiling Brit asks someone, "What are you doing here?" While an excited Molly asks Rick, "What happened to you?" Considering the teasers reveal that Cody gets a pleasant surprise, Rick probably doesn't tell Molly about what happened to him. Elsewhere, Felicia informs Elizabeth, "Nathan wants to take James. He has every right to." No, he doesn't. Not until he addresses the issue of being legally dead, and he proves he's not a villain. Anna tells Dante, "I don't like the timing of any of this. The teasers also show that Anna comes to a startling realization. Could she believe that Nathan's return is somehow tied to Britt's resurrection? Anna's concern about timing could only mean one thing. Everything's about to go spectacularly sideways. On the flight home from Switzerland, Lulu advises Charlotte, "Seeing your father comes with a certain level of risk." Speaking of her dangerous father, Valentine tells Jack, "I have another condition." He probably wants permission to paint his jail cell in a French neoclassical style. And Jason informs Carly, "He's lied to you about everything." Advanced word is that Jason makes a confession. Hopefully, he doesn't blow Joss's cover and just tells her that Britt may have been involved in what nefarious things were going on in Croatia. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.